ৰিজা প্ৰেজেন্টটো নিটিবিবা প্ৰেজেন্ট কৰিব নালাগে তুমি জাস্ট জয়েন কৰিলে হ'ব ৰিজা প্ৰেজেন্টটো নকৰিবাচোন ষ্টপ প্ৰেজেন্টিং কৰি দিয়া জাস্ট জয়েন কৰিলে হ'ব প্ৰেজেন্ট কৰিব নালাগে স্টার্ট করো না শুনা পাইছা তোমালোকে শুনা পাইছা না ওকে ফার্স্টতে কোনটো টপিক স্টার্ট করো তেনে অথনি গ্ৰুপত হোৱাটছএপ গ্ৰুপত তোমালোকে কিছুমান দিছিলা তাতে ৰূপ দিহুনে দিছিলে ইউনিট 2 কমপ্লিটলি লাগিব বুলি দিছিলে সেইখিনি ডিপাৰ্টমেন্ট হেৰি কৰি দিম বুলি কৈছে মই বিচাৰি চাই পেলাই সেইটো দিম সেন্টেন্স স্ট্ৰাকচাৰ গ্ৰামাৰ পাৰ্টটো বাকি আছে Secondly, এটা question দিছিল যে language is the expression of ideas by means of speech sounds combined into words. Explain this definition with illustration. Expression of ideas by means of speech sounds combined into words. তোমালোকৰ properties of language যেটা কৰিছিলো ফার্স্ট যেটো ক্লাস আছিল তাতে আমি কৰিছিলো যে duality of nature language of যেটো duality of nature আছিল সেই বস্তুটো ইলাস্ট্ৰেট কৰিব লাগিব এই বস্তুটো ইলাস্ট্ৰেট কেনেকৈ কৰিব লাগিব তাত আমি যে পাইছিলো কিছুমান সাউন্ড ইউনিট দুটা লেভেলত হয় দুটা লেভেলত ল্যাঙ্গুৱেজটো অৰ্গানাইজ হয় ফাৰ্স্টতে সাউন্ড ইউনিট কিছুমান এড হৈ পেলাই ওয়ার্ড ফর্ম কৰে and those words in turn they combine together to form sentences new sentences newer sentences we have never heard before or read before that kind of sentences those can be formed so explain that thing using phonemes phonetical sound কিছুমানটো শিকোৱা হৈছিল এই phonetical sound বোৰ sorry symbol বোৰ ইউজ কৰি পেলাই হেতু আনসাৰ দিব লাগিব তাত লেভেল 1 আৰু লেভেল 2 বুলি ডায়াগ্ৰাম বনাই পেলাই দিছিলো মনত আছে না STOP এই চাৰিটা লেটাৰ ইউজ কৰি যে আমি এবাৰ ওয়ার্ড উলিয়াইছিলো এই ওয়ার্ডবোৰ কম্বাইন কৰি এটা সেন্টেন্স বনাইছিলো Do you remember that? মনত পৰিছে বস্তুটো আমি তাত লেটাৰ হিচাপে ইউজ কৰিছিলো ইয়াত যেহেতু since question is expression of ideas by means of speech sounds বুলি দিছে so use phonetic symbols সাইডত লিখি দিছো O to etia O sound to my etia yat likhibole digdar hobo গতিকে simply O বুলি দি থৈছো কিন্তু লিখোতে তোমালোকে হেতু sound to যেটো phonetic notation হে notation টো ইউজ কৰিবা sound gita message boxত চাবা chat boxত এই sound gita use কৰি পেলাই আমি কেনেকে word form কৰিব পাৰো that is first level of formation of the sentence first level of ami sound random sound কিছুমান organize কৰিছো those sounds they themselves don't have any meaning they may not have any meaning we must not say don't we can say they may not have any meaning because when we say I is a sound simple phoneme but it has meanings I means myself or I means this I phonetically both are same those spellings are different but phonetic symbols are same sounds are used so being a singular sound also it may have meanings so we should say random sound units or phonemes which may not have individual meanings may not have stress on that may not have individual meanings combine together to form some meaningful units some larger meaningful units which are called words Here's the first level. Chat box of beside some random sound units or phonemes which may not have individual meanings of their own combine together to form some larger units which have some meaning. These larger units are called words. This is the first level of organization of sounds. Random sound units, we combine them together to form some words. In the second stage, what do we do? According to the grammar, we arrange those words in certain order. We arrange those words in certain order and we get the sentence. A sentence has some elements like subject, verb, object or likewise. Whatever that particular sentence, language demands. English subject, verb and object or complement that part. That is the standard order of a sentence. It may vary sometimes. Sometimes we may omit the subject. Sometimes there may not be an object. When I say I do, then there is not any object to be found. And when I say do it, then we don't have a direct subject, visible subject in that sentence. But according to the grammar of that language, that is acceptable. So we arrange those words in a certain order and then we get the sentence. That is a second level. লিখি দিম নে নিলিখিলে হ'ব? লিখি দিম নে নালাগে? ওকে, লাগিব। Okay, now you can see that for each stage, you just elaborate with proper example. Okay, and you can use examples from different languages to lengthen the answer. Okay, and one more thing is there. When we write it down, when we write down a sentence or some words, then we don't have exact phonemes. We don't write in terms of phonemes, phonetic symbols. We use the alphabet. So to lengthen the answer, come to the second part of this answer. There we elaborate further that every language has its own alphabet. Those alphabets may not represent the entirety of the phonetic symbols. Okay. But it is supposed that combination of the alphabets or some letters in the alphabet, they represent some sounds. And those letters are put together to write down different, construct different words. And then again, just like our speech, we arrange those words in certain orders to create sentences. Can you write that down? Okay, I have written here, in the writing system of a language, we do not use the phonetic symbols. Rather, we have some letters in the alphabet of the language which represent different sounds of the language in some form. In some form, I have said, because if you look at English itself, in the, what to say, alphabet itself, we don't have this sound kha or tha. We don't have that in terms of letters. There we use combinations. Th for tha, or sometimes the, think, and there. For this tha and the, we use th, that combination of letters in the alphabet. Individual letters don't represent that sound in that language. All right. In Indian languages, we don't have that problem, but in English, we do have that problem. So either in combination or individual letters, they represent some sounds. And we combine those letters together to construct some words. I'm writing that down next. We see that now. We use those letters in the alphabet in some combinations to represent the desired sounds of speech in the writing system. In writing system, not a simple symbol or letter represents the sound th or the, but we use some combinations like th in these two words. Th, once it gives us the sound th, and once it gives us the sound the. Think this. All right. What we desire to express, we accordingly arrange those letters. All right. Then again, repeat the second point of constructing the sentence here as writing the sentence, not speaking the sentence, writing the sentence. Your answer gets elongated. That is sufficient, I guess. Will that be sufficient, Rubdihun? You asked this question. Okay. Then I'm moving on to the second question you asked. Language is the expression of ideas by means of speech sounds combined into words. Okay, we already did that, right? And this was examine the pool of the mother tongue in respect of general Indian English. In the chat box, I am giving an alternate term for this pool of the mother tongue. To mother tongue influence or NPI. See, this is one tricky question. Tricky in the sense they are using an unfamiliar term, pool of the mother tongue. Now, who the hell uses that? Because we already have a standard term, mother tongue influence or MTI. Universally, internationally, we call that MTI. Someone speech says the MTI. That means mother tongue influence. Now, to confuse you people, they have used this term, pool of the mother tongue. Now, what is mother tongue influence? Any idea? You can use your speakers. I don't mind. We need to discuss. Any idea? What is mother tongue influence? Let's just say we are listening to a South Indian person using English. How do we know that this person is South Indian, although he is speaking English? How do we know? Yes, what is tone difference? Is it only tone or something else as well? Let's see. In India, we speak different languages and tone difference pronunciation. Okay, yeah. They use their own mother tongue tone. To some extent, you are all right, but that is not everything. What you two are saying is not everything. Let me elaborate. Pronunciation. Sanas has brought up the topic issue of pronunciation in this NTI. Pronunciation is one aspect. For example, Hindi speakers, they don't have the difference between wa and va. V, V and W, those sounds. They don't differentiate between that. V-I-N-E and W-I-N-E, they pronounce the same way, wine. But these are two different things. Vine and wine are two different things. But Hindi speakers, they have this problem. Due to their mother tongue, due to their speech, they don't have this V thing, so they make it near possible sound which exists in their language, that is wa. Bilabial wa, not V. Labiodental V, vine, not instead of vine, they say wine. They don't know how to pronounce that wa sound. Again, southern language speakers, they don't have that much of sounds in their language system. If you look at the Tamils, they have only 11 or 12 sounds in their entire language. Only 11 or 12 sounds. And they do everything with those 12 sounds, 11, 12 sounds. So when they have to speak English, they can't make the difference between English sounds and their own sounds. How to pronounce those non-existing sounds in English, which they don't know. They have that problem. So what they do is, they pronounce like their own mother tongue. For example, this is. When you say is, that z sound, that is replaced by so. That is. They will say that is. That is a mango. Not is a mango. They will say that is a mango. Because some sounds are lacking in their mother tongue, so they can't pronounce it, which is required in English, but they do use English in speaking. So they replace the English sound with their mother tongue sounds. Nearest possible mother tongue sound, they replace the English sound. So is becomes is. That is one issue. That is the issue of pronunciation. Then comes the structural issues. In Assamese, we say lahe lahe ja. Lahe lahe ja means go slowly. In English, adverbs are never reduplicated. Adverbs are never reduplicated. Reduplicated means never used twice. Same adverb is not used twice. For example, when we say lahe lahe ja in Assamese, we don't use single lahe, lahe ja. We don't say lahe ja. We need this twice, but English doesn't require this twice. In Hindi also, dhire dhire ja. Dhire dhire ja means dhire ja, it sounds odd. So they use dhire dhire. So almost every Indian language has this thing, adverbs they use twice in Indian languages. But in English, we don't use it twice. But due to mother tongue influence, what do Indian speakers tend to say? Go slowly, slowly. Talk slowly, slowly. And again, talk slowly, slowly means you should, how to say, slow down the pace of talking. It would mean that to an English guy. But what exactly we mean is that lower down your tone or pitch. That we mean to say. But we used to translate the mother tongue sentence into English word by word and then arrange the whole sentence in English way. There becomes the problem, the structural problem. धीरे धीरे जाओ. Translate it as word by word, slowly, slowly go. Then the structure in English manner goes slowly. This is a problem. Structurally, too. Do you see the chat box? There I have given one example. The Hindi sentence is dhire dhire jao. Then we translate it word by word inside our brain, maybe not writing. Inside our brain, we process it, translate each and every word into English, and then rearrange those words into English structure. So what becomes is a funny English sentence. Real Englishmen won't use that. No, they would never. So this is a structural issue. Then again, British tone or American tone is different. Tone means सुर सुर जो होता है बोलने का तरीका. That tone is different in British English or American English. We tend to say that we use the British style with a tint of American style. But when you speak English, then what do? We just somehow think in our own languages, own mother tongues. Although we may speak in English, but we may definitely think in our own mother tongue. And that tone tints this English sentence. Example? Any example? Right now, what should I say? Okay, one simple word. Yes. British or Americans, they don't say the yes in the same way we use it, in the same tone. We may use the same way, but we use a different tone in India. With our tone, one can say sense that whether the speaker is speaking to someone with aggressive attitude or passive attitude or whatever attitude it may be. But in British or American English, we don't have that. For example, when you say yes in the classroom, if I'm asking something, have you understood? Then you will say, yes, sir. That yes, sir is very polite in Indian way. The tone is very polite in Indian way. But in British or American English, the speaker won't use that tone at all. They won't use that. They will simply say, yes. That's enough. Yes is enough. And also, we use too many words depending on our culture. For example, in the classroom, you after every sentence you utter, when you're answering to me, you will use the word sir, sir. Or when you speak to Deepa ma'am, you'll always use the word ma'am, ma'am, ma'am after each and every sentence. That is because we use the Indian tone in that sentence. That's why. A British or an American won't use that word sir or ma'am that uh, what to say with that much liberty. No, they have some reservations where to use the sir or where to use the ma'am that word. We use too many words which don't exist in English sentence as well, English language as well. For example, when we ask an unknown person his name, what do you say? हिंदी में होता है कि आपका शुभ नाम क्या है? शुभ नाम. I don't think anyone has any bad name. Everyone's name is Shubh. The thing is, that is our Indian way of asking. And we tend to use that same structure, word by word translation in English as well. We ask an unknown person, what is your good name, please? Use that word, please. Why? Why you use that word, please? Because for us, please is a marker of politeness. Belittling the asking guy and showing respect to the guy whom we are asking that. So we use that sentence, आपका शुभ नाम क्या है? With that same tone, what is your good name, please? In English, we don't use that. We simply use the sentence, what's your name? Would you kindly tell your name? May I know your name, please? At the best. This is the difference. We translate our cultural beliefs and our cultural values which get reflected in our language. We translate those into English and use that. It includes tone, it includes lexical items, it includes the grammatical structure, it includes the pronunciation. These four things we can say all. Will that be sufficient? Rubdihun, you mark this question. Okay. Now, Senla's, she had put forwarded 3 questions. What are the structural signals that make the structure of a sentence meaningful? Explain with suitable illustrations. This I can't give a lecture right now, I'm afraid. Myself, I have to study it. For 12 marks, I have to study it. Otherwise, if I beat around the bush, it won't help you. So I'm skipping it right now. Discuss with illustrations how diphthongs are produced in RP. Again, diphthongs, did we discuss diphthongs in class? We did. Combination of vowel sounds. But there I didn't do with the diagrams. So what would I do? I do one thing. Let's scan some pages from the book and post it in the group. Will that do, Sanaz? Okay. We did the diphthongs, but we didn't do the diagrams. But since the question carries 12 marks, sorry, 10 marks, we have to put some diagrams as well. So I'll post the diagrams after scanning the book. Third question is discuss briefly Noam Chomsky's concept of competence and performance, 12 marks. This thing, I guess you will have the answer from anywhere in the net, but problem is you won't understand it that pretty well. So let me discuss it. I won't be typing it here. For 12 marks, I won't be typing it. Let me explain what is competence and what is performance. Competence is, let me ask you a question first before explaining competence. Every one of you understand Assamese? When you read in a new novel, there every sentence is probably new. You haven't read that before. You haven't heard those sentences before, but still you understand, right? Whatever a new piece of writing you read, or whatever a new piece of news you are listening to on the radio, you understand it's in every sentence, right? And not only you understand that, you also can find out the mistakes, errors in sentences if there is any. Don't you? If someone is making an error while speaking, you definitely understand that thing. You can pick up that, okay, there he or she has made one mistake. তোমালোকে গম পোৱা যে কোনটো ভুল হৈছে কি ভুল হৈছে সেইটো গম পাই যোৱা কি কাৰণে গম পোৱা কাৰণ সেই ল্যাঙ্গুৱেজটো তোমালোকে তাৰ ষ্ট্ৰাকচাৰটো তাৰ গ্ৰামাৰটো বা তাৰ ৱৰ্ডখিনি যিখিনি মিনিং সেইখিনি তোমালোকে somehow internalize কৰি থৈছে. It's somewhere inside here, somewhere inside your brain, somewhere in your psyche, you have all the structural patterns, all the grammar, all the meanings of the words of your language somewhere inside your brain or psyche. You have that, you know what is wrong and what is right. So even when you look at the signboard, you can pick up the fault in that. Or someone reads the news on radio and you can say this sentence is wrong. Based on that knowledge, you already have internalized right from your childhood. That is your competence. Competence, that means you know how to use that language, how that language has been used, with how much perfection, you know that, you can detect that. That is your competence of that language. You know that much of that language. That is your competence. But when it comes to your use of that language, now you are not listening to others, not reading something written by others. You are using it yourself. That time, mind it, Whatever knowledge you have in here, not the 100% of that comes out. When it comes to performing, that means using that language, at that time, not everything comes out of your brain. Sometimes you may make some errors or mistakes. That is unconscious. Deep down, you know that after writing it down or after saying, you may detect your error. But at the time of using, that didn't got processed, didn't get processed in your brain. That is your performance. How much you know and how much you can use. How much inside your brain, how much you release. What you have in stock is competence. What you release is performance. Understood? Sanaz? I'll do one thing. Again, I'll scan something and share in the group. This thing, competence and performance. And we had this diphthongs, diagrams of the diphthongs. All right. Have you understood it now? What is competence and what is performance? Okay, fine. Anything else shall we do today? See, one more thing I need to tell you. Not only I need to tell you. That is, the concepts of Chomsky's competence and performance is almost similar to Ferdinand de Saussure's that Lang and Perrow. Lang is the collective grammar, collective structure of a language that is accepted by a community of speakers. All right. The whole community, how they accept one language as what is correct, what is acceptable. In terms of that, how do they accept one language? That is Lang. Parole is how one individual in that community, in that speech community, how one individual performs that language, that Lang, or uses that Lang in real life. Lang is abstract idea. You cannot see it in terms of what is wrong or right or what is acceptable or not. If we speak of the Assamese language, as Assamese community, we have this Assamese language. It sets rules or what is acceptable or not. Not only in terms of grammar, but also in terms of social values. For example, you don't say an elderly person, "Oi, tale najabi." When you're speaking to an elderly person, you don't say "Taloi najabi." We don't use that najabi or use the word "oi." We don't do that. That is accepted. That rule is set by what? Our speaking community. That is part of the Lang. Part of the Lang means part of the body of the language with all its values, social values, grammatical values, structural values, every aspect of the language as accepted by the language community. That is Lang. But when a speaker, individual speaker, he uses that language, that becomes the parole. Parole is the actual performance of that language or actual use of that language by an individual, minded individual. Competence and performance didn't say about individual performance. But in Lang and Parole, we speak of the individual person's expression of a language. How he uses the language, that is the parole. Because, see, when I said that example, we don't use that in terms of when we speak to an elderly person. But someone can say, some people do say that, don't they? In some tribes, we find that when they speak Assamese, we find it funny. Why funny? Because that person, they know the Assamese language, but they don't know which word should follow while speaking to someone, which word should be chosen and which what not to be chosen while speaking to others. Sometimes they don't know, but they do understand each and everything. For example, don't understand it as racist, but there definitely these examples are everywhere. When a missing person from Majuli comes to Jorhat or Golaghat, they understand each and every word of Assamese. When you speak to them, they understand each and every word you say, you utter. They understand everything perfectly. So the lang is there. Otherwise, they won't understand. The lang is there. Means the knowledge of the language is there in their brain. Knowledge of the lang is there. But parole, when they use the language, then it becomes a bit different. আপুনি তালৈ নাযাবি আপুনি তালৈ নাযাবি বুলি যেতিয়া ক'ব, when they say আপুনি তালৈ নাযাবি, আপুনি and নাযাবি is not what the standard speaker would accept or speak like that. Standard speaker won't, but that person used that sentence, আপুনি তালৈ নাযাবি. That is the parole of that individual. Understood? Understood the difference? Okay. Yes, you will understand, but as I said, these things are always confusing. What else? What else shall we do now? Explain about elision. For how many marks this question was there? Rubdihun? Elision is a large thing because you just can't simply explain everything about elision in English. For example, I'm writing one word there. Which word? When I say I'm, it actually means I am. Right? That A is missing here. That is elision. That is elision. That letter is omitted, dropped. Or sometimes what happens? It came for 3 marks. For 3 marks, it will be a bit tricky. Because there should be some structure in the answer itself. What point-wise structure should be there? Just let me put it in the group so that I can remember it. I have to look up for this thing. See, sometimes what happens In writing or in speaking, we drop on sound, unnecessarily or necessarily, and sometimes the sound doesn't occur. For example, when I say, when we write this word lamb or lamb, in both cases, the final pa and ba sound, they don't get uttered. Our, our actual utterance ends in ma, lamb, in both cases. Mary had a little lamb. We don't say lamb. No, we drop the ba. That is also elision. Again, just as I said, I am, that is shortened into I'm, that is also elision. So I have to look up to this thing, how to structure, construct this answer in what terms. And what else? See, also elision, in elision also one more thing may come. Structurally, what is the structure of the English sentence? English sentence structure is subject plus verb plus object or complement, right? This is the structure of the English sentence usually. But when we say go there, it's missing here. When we say go there, the subject is missing. That is also elision. That subject is missing. You go there. We don't say you go there. We simply say go there. So structurally, this is missing. Phonetically, o and mo, ba are missing in lamb and lamb. What we say lamp and lamb. Phonetically, those things are missing. And again, shortening, I will, those things, those are also elisions. So we have to construct this answer in more organized way. But did you get the idea? Sahna's importance of vocabulary in technical, specialized, and field-specific studies. And what are these specific studies called? These are registers. So, did you write about a register? Yes, we did it in our social linguistics. So, write about that register thing there, with some examples from these fields, technical and specialized or field-specific situations. For example, when we are speaking about the computer science field, if you say the mouse is not working, that doesn't mean that four-leg creature, that creature is not working. Such examples you throw in. Trisamani, you have written there on accentuated patterns of English words. Production of plosive consonant. Accentuated patterns of English word means the intonation. Intonation that I can't do it here. That needs one entire class face to face. Because I don't have the blackboard here so that I could write. It needs markings. Without markings, you won't be able to understand the thing. Production of plosive consonants. Plosive consonants, we did that. Trisamani, we did that. When we did the consonants, we did the plosive ones. Pa, ba, ma, everything which burst in. Dhumke phuta boli je moi koisilu. যিবোৰ সাউন্ড আমি প্ৰডিউচ কৰোঁতে প্ৰথমতে কি হয় বন্ধ হয় ইয়াৰ পিছত এটা বিল্ড হয় সেইটো ধুমকে ওলাই আহে ফৰ এক্সাম্পল প ব ত দ ম প ব ত দ ম এই পাঁচটা প্ৰচিভ কনসনেন্ট হয় এই আটাইকেইটাত কি হৈছে চোৱাচোন নিজে প্ৰনাউন্স কৰি চোৱা এয়াৰ প্ৰেছাৰ এটা বিল্ড হৈছে সেইটো জোৰে ৰিলিজ হৈছে সেইকাৰণে চাউণ্ডটো ওলাইছে যদি প্ৰডাকশ্যন অফ প্ৰচিভ কনসনেন্ট বুলি ক'লে সেই পাঁচটা চাউণ্ডৰ কথা লিখিব লাগিব এইখিনি লিখা আছে নে লিখাইছিলো মই আৰু What we have to write when asked in what way language is useful for mankind? What way language is useful for mankind? Uh, Sociolinguistics, right? Why do we use language at all? Different functions are there. Functions of language, we did that in sociolinguistics, didn't we? So, right, elaborate those things. Consonant clusters in English. Yes, this is one thing we couldn't finish. Consonant cluster Krishna, পৰহি ক্লাছটো কনসনেন্ট ক্লাষ্টাৰৰ ওপৰত কৰিম হ'বনে তাৰ কাৰণে মই আগত চাৰ্ট এখন বনাই লম বনাই লৈ পেলাই ইয়াত মই সেইখন শ্বেয়াৰ কৰি দিম তোমালোকে তেতিয়া স্ক্ৰীনত চাই লিখিব পাৰিবা চা কনসনেন্ট ক্লাষ্টাৰটো মই এনেও কৈ দিছো যে কি কনসনেন্ট একেলগে আহিব পাৰে কিমানটালৈকে কনসনেন্ট একেলগে আহিব পাৰে উইদাউট ভাৱেল ইন বিটুইন ফৰ এক্সাম্পল আমি যেতিয়া তাৰ ষ্ট্ৰাকচাৰ কিছুমান থাকে সাধাৰণতে কোৱা যায় যে ভাৱেলটো নিউক্লিয়াছ এটা কনসনেন্টৰ ভাৱেলটো নিউক্লিয়াছ প্ৰত্যেকটো কনসনেন্টক সৰি কনসনেন্ট বুলি কি হৈছে সিলেবলত প্ৰত্যেকটো সিলেবলত ভাৱেলটো নিউক্লিয়াছ বুলি কোৱা যায় এটা সিলেবলত কি হয় কিমানটালৈকে কনসনেন্ট আহিব পাৰে সেইটো আমি চাওঁ আৰু যিমানটা কনসনেন্ট একেলগে আহিব পাৰে এটা সিলেবলত সেই গোটেই কনসনেন্টখিনি একেলগে কনসনেন্ট ক্লাষ্টাৰ বুলি কয় ফৰ এক্সাম্পল এটা ৱৰ্ড দেখিছো স্ক্ৰেপ স্ক্ৰেপ বুলি কওঁতে ইয়াত আমাৰ কি আহিছে চোৱা ফাৰ্ষ্টতে এটা চাউণ্ড আহিল কনসনেন্ট চাউণ্ড এটা তাৰপিছত অ চাউণ্ডটো সেইটো এটা কনসনেন্ট চাউণ্ড এটা তাৰপিছত ৰ চাউণ্ডটো আহিলে সেইটো এটা কনসনেন্ট চাউণ্ড তাৰপিছত এ চাউণ্ডটো আহিলে স্ক্ৰেপ বুলি যদি কওঁ এ চাউণ্ডটো হ'ল সেইটো ভাৱেল চাউণ্ড অ চাউণ্ডটো হ'ল আকৌ কনসনেন্ট চাউণ্ড ৰাইট ইয়াৰ ষ্ট্ৰাকচাৰটো হ'ল চি 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 ভি চি এই কনসনেন্ট ক্লাষ্টাৰ বুলি ক'লে ইয়াত আমাৰ কেইটা কনসনেন্ট একেলগে আহিল তিনটা একেলগে আহিল তিনটা একেলগে আহিলতো ক'ৰবাত হয়তো কনসনেন্ট একেলগে দুটা আহিব বুলি যেতিয়া আমি কম আমাৰ কি হ'ব ভি এপ বুলি ক'লে আহিব আমাৰ কি ফাৰ্ষ্টতে এটা আমাৰ ভাৱেল আহিছে তাৰপিছত দুটা কনসনেন্ট আহিছে চি চি ভি চি চি ইয়াত দুটা কনসনেন্টৰহে ক্লাষ্টাৰ হ'ল তেনেকুৱাকে আমি বহুত পেটাৰ্ণ পাম নিউমেৰাছ পেটাৰ্ণছ সেই গোটেইখিনি কৰিবলৈ আমাৰ এটা ক্লাছ লাগিব গতিকে সেইটো মই নেক্সট এৰিয়াত পৰহিলে কৰি দিম মাৰ্ক কৰি লৈছো ৰবা হোৱাটছএপ গ্ৰুপতে মই লিখি থৈছো Okay. আৰু difference between RP and GI consonant system. এটো মই দিছিলো নেকি গ্ৰুপত three term labels 10 marks. Three term labels is always used in while defining the vowels. Vowel three term label eta paisilu to ami. That thing is three term labels. Where it is produced, how it is produced, and what kind of sound is that. Therefore, 10 marks you have to write about all the consonants. But as a there's one thing. Just a minute. Three term label. There, I have to give you the definition of what is three term labeling. I'll put that in the group. So, shall we stop here for today? Okay then. Therefore, tomorrow the class may be a little bit longer, more than 1 hour maybe. Meanwhile, I will prepare the answers which I couldn't furnish here. And you find the topics as well, new topics. Okay then.